Yeah, like it's so surprising to me. Like I didn't believe there was anything more that I could hear about what happened at our school. Like there was a trash can set on fire. There was someone that threw milk over the third floor balcony down to the first floor. There was
That was
someone,
you.
yes, that was me. There was the culinary class that tried to burn the school down every month. There was a guy that died of a heart attack in the middle of the hallway, and nobody stopped to help him.
Well, that last one, usually people don't want any problems because then you can be held accountable, even though like here in America, you we do have like the what was that law called? Like there is a bill that was passed that the Good Samaritan Act, I believe it was called, which is basically in the name. You're not held liable for being a good Samaritan and helping someone, but like despite that, people don't want to help because it's just too risky. You don't know the type of person that they're associated with.
Yeah, but I feel like we should tell the whole story about that. The guy that died.
Oh yeah, do.
Uh, I don't know how much you know about this. I know a fair bit. He was a counselor from another school, our rival
I
school or
know
whatever.
nothing.
Yeah, he was a counselor from our rival school that was visiting to like see about a position, either about a counselor from our school going over to the other school that was like a newer school, or him transferring over to our school. I'm not clear about that. But basically, he was outside of the culinary class.
I think it was the former.
Yeah. He was outside the culinary class, and he just dropped in the middle of the hallway, having a heart attack. And the culinary students spotted him and sent everyone went out to like help him. Somebody called 911, and the teacher or the chef or whatever was like, "Hey, you kid, go find a teacher that knows CPR and bring them back here." And the dumbass kid goes and goes to the health teacher and starts knocking on the door. And the health
Yeah,
teacher's on the phone talking to somebody before class, like before school has even started. And the teacher basically makes
yeah.
a shoo shoo get out of here motion with her hand. And the kid doesn't leave. He doesn't go try to find another teacher. He just sits there knocking at her door until she ends the call and answers him. And by the time that she actually gets there, the ambulance is already there and he's been pronounced dead.
Yeah, we had a terrible nurse. Like she really did not care less.
The nurse yelled at me for saying that she was wrong about something when she was. Like I went to the nurse's office saying I don't feel good. Everything's spinning. I feel super hot and I can't hear people very well. Like I'm not comprehending English very well. And then she took my temperature. It was a normal
Yeah,
temperature, and she's like, "Ah, you're fine. Go back to class." And then I go to the after hours clinic after school, and they take my temperature there. It's 103.
that's too high.
It is. It. I was like on the verge of passing out every second. And then I go back after I'm feeling better, and I drop by her, or I see her in the office or whatever when I'm turning in my slip saying, "Hey, I was sick. Here's the doctor's note that I had a fever of 103." I see her, and I was like, "Hey, I don't know what was going on, but your temperature gauge wasn't working correctly or something." Because I went and here's the note. I had a fever of 103, and she was like, "My instruments are working perfectly. I don't know who you are to tell me that my stuff doesn't work, but I've been doing this for multiple years and you haven't. So you need to stop talking to me about stuff that I'm wrong about." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I don't know why she was so egotistical, but
That is the second teacher that I got to quit. Do you want to hear about the first?
Yes.
The first teacher that I got to quit, or maybe I think they quit around the same time, but it was Mr. Bolin from English. You remember him?
Yeah, I recall.
He quit the year
What about
after
him?
I had him. Um, I was put in his class, and he said at the beginning of the year, I know that you guys are smart kids and that you've gone throughout your life um, not reading any of the books for English. You would just read the back cover and BS your way through your essays and still pass. My class is going to be the first class you have where you can't do that. And guess what I did?
You read the back cover and BS'd your way through the exams?
Yep. And he knew that I was doing it because I never brought out a book during class when he was saying, "All right, everyone, get out your books and turn to this page." I would always say, "I don't have the book. I couldn't afford it." But then I would still pass the tests that he gave out. And so he knew that I was cheating on it, but he couldn't prove it. And so eventually what he did was he got me on an essay. Like we had to write an essay. And I just BS'd it, and he was like, "Oh, sorry, your writing quality isn't good enough. You didn't pass the essay because you didn't write with correct grammar and good enough essay structure." And so he gave me a 0 on it. I sent that essay to another English teacher, Miss South from. I sent her that essay, and she was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have given you at least a 5, or not 5 because 5 is the highest. I would have given you at least a 3 on it." And so he just basically found a way to fail me out of that grade and then sent me to another teacher.
Yeah, that's just a low blow.
But the
Yeah, but I do
things that I
recall
did,
myself. She was definitely probably the most fair teacher, but
yeah, I love
anyway,
Miss
but what
South.
about Boba?
Um, the things that I did was I wouldn't pay attention in class. I would always like play on my phone, because he said if you want to play on your phone and not take this class seriously, then you can go right ahead. Just don't distract the other students. And so I would always just play on my phone in the back of class, but I would still get passing grades. And so he would always watch me as I played on my phone, but not say anything to me. And then the other thing I did was our
I mean,
math teacher,
said,
Miss Turner. Remember when her stool broke, and like the top of the stool came off the bottom?
yeah.
Yeah, I stole the
Oh
top of the
man, that was
stool.
hilarious.
I stole the seat part. I like picked it up in the middle of class and stood in line to leave the class because she wouldn't let you out until the bell rang. I stood in line with the seat in my hand, and she actually asked for me to move my arm so she could get past me to the front of the line. And said that in reference to the arm that was holding the seat of the chair. And I moved it, and she walked past it, and she didn't notice.
So, did she ever notice, or did she ever say anything about it?
No. What happened was I brought it home and passed it off to my parents as like an art project or whatever. And then I brought it back to school the next day and walked into Mr. Boland's class and gave it to him. And I was like, "I have something. I know that you don't like me that much. Here is a seat. Here's like a stadium seat. You can put it on like a stadium seat or like your car or anywhere that is uncomfortable to sit on. And this will make it more comfortable to sit there." And he took it and he's like, "Oh, wow, thanks. This is actually really nice of you." And then he smelled it and he was like, "Where did you find this? It smells like dead cats." And I was like, "Oh, I found it on the street. I made sure to like spray it down, but I couldn't get the whole smell out overnight. But I wanted to give it to you like as soon as possible." And he was like, "Okay, well, I'll take it. I'll spray it down some more. And thank you for the gift." And he seemed to not hate me during that class that I had with him. He seemed to be more lenient with me than he usually was. And then someone told him who the seat belonged to, and he had to walk in in the middle of Miss Turner's class to give back the seat to her. And I had Miss Turner the period that he walked in to give it back, and he was so blind with rage he didn't even see me sitting there.
Yes, I recall that you noticed the enter classroom to get wait, wasn't this the same person who looked you dead in the eyes all the time, or was it somebody else?
Uh, I think that was the English teacher that I had after him, because he probably told the next English teacher what I did and why I was being sent to him instead. But yeah, he walked into class to give the seat back. His face was bright, or like, not even bright. It was like dark red. His teeth were clenched. He had a vein popping out in his forehead, and he was just looking straight ahead. He wasn't even looking at me or anybody. He just walked in, turned, set it down on the desk, and walked right back out. And walked past me both times, and he didn't say anything. And because of the way that our school was structured, we had A and B days. A days were periods 1 through 4, and B days were 5 through 8. The next day, I walked in and I had his class like first period, I believe. I walked into his class the very next day, and he was like, "Hey, that essay that you turned in, you failed. You're gonna fail the semester." And so I went ahead and already transferred you to another class. So here's your new schedule. You're getting transferred to a different English teacher. The very next day.
Have you even taught? Like, this is definitely your biggest achievement. Far better than the milkman.
It is. It was really funny, but yeah. That at the end of that year, he quit, and he he said that it was too stressful to work at the school, and that's why he quit. But I think it was because of what I did.
I mean, you definitely are unique in that,
Yeah.
pushing people to their limits.
It's not a proud thing of mine, but I think it's funny that I used to do that a lot. I don't do that as much anymore. I don't like to push people that far anymore, but it was definitely like a character development for me.
Yeah, man, I don't have any story like that. I mean, as far as I can remember, like I've never pranked somebody like that badly, much less a teacher.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually thinking really hard if I have any pranks like that. I don't.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to give you extra time to think about it. I'm going to cut this recording off here because it's an hour long already.